You see my face in your inbox on Script Magazine so many times a week. I thought it was time to bring you the moving, talking, real me. I'm sitting right now in my house in the chair where I read my scripts. You know, after I write them, I always print them out and I sit and read them, where I read my friends' scripts who want feedback. This is my, what do I have to do to fix this chair? And I'm keeping it real today. I am literally sitting here in my pajamas because this is how I work every day. And I want to talk to you. The reason I'm doing this is not because I want you to see me in my pajamas. I mean, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to do something different this time for our free download. I normally do graphs and checklists and all these other PDF things you can download, but I wanted to do something that was more real because I'm talking about facing fears. And every writer has fears, myself included. I have paralyzing fears. We fear rejection. We fear that our work isn't good enough. It doesn't meet up to our friends or other people in the industry. But we can't write and exist and create our characters and really move with such freedom unless we face those fears and find a place to put them so that we can function in life. So I wanted to share with you a life-changing experience that I had. Now, whether you're Catholic or religious or not, it doesn't matter. But for me personally, this experience happened around Lent, which is a 5.5-week period where Catholics give up something, sacrifice something. A lot of people sacrifice, like give up swearing or give up chocolate, neither of which things I could ever do. So I did something different. I gave up fear. And in doing so, it freed me on so many levels to live my life. I found that fear was paralyzing my life, and I wasn't making choices. I wasn't making the choices I needed to make. I was stuck in that fear, and all I could think about was consumed with it. But what if I did this, and what if I did that, and always afraid of change, and what if I upset somebody, what if I made somebody mad? And so it kept me in a place where I wasn't happy. And I kept saying to myself, well, how's that working for you, Jean? You know, because it wasn't. And so I took the fear I was feeling anytime it came upon me, and I sort of put it in this little box. I put it to the side and said, okay, I'm just going to let the fear sit there, and I'm not even going to think about it. And I'm not going to think about all the things that scare the crap out of me right now. I'm just going to think about the problem and what I have to do to solve the problem. And in that course of 5.5 weeks, which I wrote a post about it called Kicking Fear's Ass. It's on my own website. I've referred to it on Script Magazine before. But I had to test for my black belt after being out for 9 months and had to face that fear of going in the ring again with the prison guard, the 6'8" other, 6-degree black belt. And I also had a scare with my mammogram and breast cancer. And it was all during that 5.5 weeks. And I just wouldn't allow myself to be scared. And I started then thinking about, as a writer, what would it be like if my characters weren't scared? What would they do? How far could I push them if fear wasn't stopping them? And how far could I push myself as a writer if I wasn't scared? If I wasn't scared of exposing myself, exposing my own wounds, exposing who I am, who I really am to my audience. And by doing so, by removing that veneer and putting the fear over here, it made me a much deeper writer, made my characters more layered and interesting and complicated, because I was willing to show their flaws and because I was willing to explore my own. And I sort of challenge you to do the same thing. Whatever you're afraid of in your writing career, to just put it over here for a little while and try on what it feels like to not live in fear, to not have those paralyzing fears. And I have this quote. I'm actually going to read it right off my computer because it's one that stares at me every day. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. And that is so true. Think about your personal life and your professional life. The things that are hard for you that you can't even imagine overcoming, if you don't dare to overcome them, you're never going to get past them. That's guaranteed. If you don't dare to ask the author if you can adapt their book, you're never going to hear yes. What's the worst can happen? Somebody says no. So what? Like, I seriously have not heard of anybody dropping dead because they heard the word no. Like, there's nothing bad that's going to happen to you. You at least know, okay, well, I had this dream. I hoped that I could adapt this book. The author said no, so, okay, moving on. Maybe I can find a different book. Instead of just for years sitting there, but I want to adapt this book, I want to adapt this book, I want to adapt this book. And you can't. So you might as well know that you can't, and then just move on to something that you can. And, I want to leave you with one final thought about the thing that does scare me. There is one thing that truly terrifies me, and that is at the end of my life, laying there about to take my last breath and saying, what if? What if I had written that script? What if I had flown to LA and had those meetings? What if I had queried these producers who I always wanted and dreamed of working with? What if? But if I don't do those things and I'm laying in my bed about to die, the what if is already answered. I know the answer. I'm going to die without having fulfilled those dreams. That's just not an option for me. I don't care how many no's I hear, and honestly, if every single person I come across says no to me, I'm okay with that because at least I asked. So I'm not asking what if. At least I know, it's not, for me, it's not about the script, the script being produced and being on the screen and accolades and Oscars and all that other stuff. I mean, of course, who wouldn't want those things? But it's about having tried. It's about having lived a full life, an absolutely full life. And you can't live a full life if you're paralyzed in fear and if you're not writing every day. And, I know for me, if I'm not writing every day, I'm in a miserable mood. I'm not feeling fulfilled. I've learned to put my own needs first and to spend at least an hour a day writing my own content, not content for anyone else other than me. And it helps keep me fearless, because if I'm brave enough to sit down every day and write, I can do anything. So I encourage you to put your fear in a little box. And I don't even care if you physically have to go out and get a fear box. Like anything that helps remind you to keep your fear over here and to not let it consume you and not keep it inside you. Do something like that, something symbolic that helps you face that fear and control it. Because as a writer, there's so many things we have no control over. None. No control over. But you can control the level of fear you allow to enter into your world. So face your fears. See what happens.